Having longer hair isn't a necessity, but we've been told for many years that it's impossible. And you may have thought that long hair isn't for you, but the truth is there's probably nothing stopping you. So give me just 9 minutes and you will get 6 techniques that will increase your hair growth and help you retain length. But before we do, let me quickly just show you what one lady said. She said, "Hi Celestine, I just ordered your hair growth accelerator. The habit that was the hardest for me was sticking to a routine and moisturizing and sealing every few days. Now I'm actually seeing length by following your advice and routine. Everything you say is so true. I have been I'm not sure, and following your suggestions for a few months now. And guess what? I can't believe I'm retaining length and actually seeing growth, thickness, and length. Unbelievable. And it didn't take long." Notice what she said. She overcame one aspect that was hard for her, and then she started seeing length, and it didn't even take her that long. So, here are the 6 techniques that you can use. Right. The first technique, and I've got my notes here so that I don't miss anything. The first one is commit to changing bad habits. Now, you want to think about the fact that you've been doing things all your life that are actually holding your hair back, things that have kept your hair stuck, probably at shoulder length and probably since you were 14. How do I know that? It's because I was there as well. So, something that I stopped doing, this is just an example of one of the bad hair techniques, is I stopped, well, what I was doing was applying heat to my hair literally on a weekly basis, constantly using straighteners and high heat as well. I'm not just talking about, blow drying, things like that. I'm talking high heat straighteners on a weekly basis without protection. That is one of those really bad habits that we want to change. So if you're using excessive heat, if you're using high tension hairstyles, really pulling your hair back really tight, if you're not washing your hair regularly, if you're ripping through your tangles and knots constantly in your hair every day, combing it and brushing it every single day, that's the kind of bad habit that you want to get rid of. The second tip is to commit to improving your scalp health. We have to remember that, of course, our hair grows from the scalp. That is the foundation. And so we want to keep it really fresh. We want to keep it a good environment. Before, I had absolutely no schedule for washing my hair. Sometimes I would wash it after 3 weeks, then I would wash it after 5 months, then I would wash it after 4 months. I had absolutely no schedule. And guess what? My hair wasn't getting any longer. So once I committed to a schedule and decided on a schedule, that's when I started to see my hair growing longer. And Curly Chemistry, or Tanya Lane, she says that 90% of the time, all we need is just a moisturizing shampoo. So don't be caught up on what kind of shampoo I need to use, what kind of brand, anything like that. Just grab yourself a moisturizing shampoo, and 90% of the time, that is pretty much all you need. Of course, you want to continue with your usual conditioning or whatever it is that you would do after that, but just make sure you're washing your hair on a regular schedule. The third technique is you want to commit to increasing your hair growth. One key thing is your hair is growing, but you can actually increase your hair growth rate. Now, I have done this by introducing scalp massaging on a regular basis. And also, there's a video on my channel, I'll link it above for you, where I was taking supplements only for 6 weeks and my hair grew an inch, well, over an inch, sorry, in those 6 weeks. Can you imagine growing your hair over an inch every 6 weeks? You do the maths on that to find out how much that is every year, but that's amazing. So you want to try and increase how fast your hair is growing with things like daily scalp massaging. You can just use your fingers. You don't necessarily need a tool. Daily scalp massaging or taking supplements if that is safe for you to do so. And something I want to say is increasing your hair growth rate is amazing, but it is really, really pointless if you don't introduce what we're going to talk about in the next tip. Really quickly, let me interrupt this video and say, I want to show you the back end of my YouTube. This is what's going on here. It actually lets me know that 80% of you that are watching my videos aren't subscribed. So I'm going to say, if you are enjoying this content, if you like the value that I'm giving to you regarding helping you to grow your hair longer, the same way I'm growing mine longer as well, then just hit that subscribe button and join the community. The fourth tip is you want to commit to keeping your length. Remember, I said that your hair is always growing. I want you to know that your hair is always growing from your scalp, unless you have some kind of condition or something going on internally that is preventing that hair growth. But in general, our hair is always growing. The problem is from the ends, it is breaking off, and that's why we're not able to see any further length. Now, my hair used to be stuck at shoulder length. No matter what I did, it was totally stuck at shoulder length until I started implementing some of the things that I'm talking about now, some of the things that I'm about to share, these length retention tips. And that's when I started seeing more length. So you want to start doing things like keeping your hair tucked away, keeping your hair in protective styles where your ends are not rubbing against your clothes or the back of your chairs or your pillows, keeping your hair covered, not letting your hair get dry. That is really key. You want to keep it moisturized, you want to keep it protected, and then you want to seal in any of that moisture that you are giving as well. So you can use things like oils, grease, butters after you've applied something like a leave-in. The fifth tip is to commit to improving your internal health. Before we get to that, don't click off, because honestly, all of this is going to fall flat if you don't follow the next technique I'm going to share lastly. So this is really, really key to stay locked in. Improving our internal health is probably the best thing that we can actually do for our hair, because once again, everything that is going on the inside is going to be reflected on the outside. And whenever I think of this, I actually think of my skin. Now, right now, I do have a little bit of makeup on, but typically I don't wear makeup in my videos. And a lot of people always comment and ask me, what is your skin routine? What's your face routine, your facial cleansing routine? And I'm like, I just wash my face with water and cream it with cocoa butter. I've literally done that for years. I don't have any kind of routine, nothing like that. But one thing I will say is I always drink water. I drink mainly water, and I really don't drink many sweet carbonated drinks, like on a regular basis. They're kind of one-off drinks. So it's the same with our hair as well. Our scalp is prone to inflammation. And so if we're eating inflammatory foods, things like processed foods or really high sugar content, whatever it is, those are the kind of things that are going to actually impact our hair growth and cause it to be less healthy. So you want to switch out things in your diet, begin to increase more greens, begin to even increase your physical health as well, in terms of like being physically healthy and moving a lot more, because that links with the technique number 2, where you're helping your scalp growth as well. Because if you are moving more, then you're increasing your blood flow to your scalp, and that helps to increase your hair growth. The sixth technique is literally what all of this hangs on. Everything I've said so far, it hangs on this one thing, that you need to have a routine. If you were to do this for 1 year straight, I promise, oh my gosh, the amount of length you will see, you will surprise yourself and be like, oh my gosh, I did not know my hair could be this long. It is the same for me. Before I had a routine, my hair would not grow. But when I began to implement this routine and stayed consistent with it, honestly, I saw my hair transform. And as you can see, it's getting longer and longer and longer, and it's literally down my back now. So I would recommend trying this for a year. If you can't do it for a year, if that's a bit too long, then at least try and commit to it for at least 3 months. And I promise you're going to see a lot of changes in your hair. If you could do with some help developing a routine, then I'm really happy to help you with how to grow your hair past your shoulder length. And that's with a 12-week routine. And what I'm going to do is link that down below in the pinned comment.